What's up, everyone? We are here to talk about the fairly large Nintendo Direct that took place this morning. Okay. It was 4 games and a piece of DLC. That 1, 2, 3. Yes. Okay. No, 4 games. Yeah. So there was a lot to talk about here, obviously. So I had to get some people to get some people together. We got Roger.
What's going on, everybody?
Good to have you here, sir. Good to have you here.
Always a pleasure.
And then we have Scott. People may know Scott. Scott the Was.
I wasn't I had a bit of a runny nose yesterday, so I wasn't feeling the greatest, but I thought, oh man, if I get a Rogue Company trailer tomorrow, things will all be better. So I'm doing okay, thank you.
And then we have Nate. Nate, how you doing over there? You
Remember
okay?
when we expected Mario to show up at this Direct?
You okay over there, Nate? Everything good?
Yeah.
You seem to have quite the night and early morning today.
It's a fine Monday.
Is it?
It's sunny. It's nice weather. It's warm. Birds are chirping. Bees are flying. It's a good day.
You almost got your mod status back too.
I don't
You were
want
close.
that back. That's terrible.
You were close.
That is a horrific status. I wish it on nobody.
Oh gosh. Okay. So we had what was this? The third party. It's a Nintendo Direct partners stream.
Yep.
Right.
The first
one. This is because they're doing a bunch of they're taking the mini Direct and they're having, I guess, things breaking off from there even. So they have Direct Mini with indie games, and that was Indie World. They're doing some strange. We used to just have Nintendo Direct. Now we have all these different types of Nintendo Directs that are subcategories underneath of the big Nintendo Direct. But we had Kane Hyrule getting Zelda DLC, and there's going to be I guess just a physical copy coming out later in October, it says. Yeah, all 3 packs, October 23rd. Rogue Company, third-person multiplayer shooter. There's that. WWE 2K Battlegrounds. I was concerned about this whole Direct until that showed up, and that pretty much saved it. So 2K Battlegrounds, good to see that, September 18th, 2 months from now. Shin Megami Tensei 3, which that was a bit of a surprise, Nocturne coming out. That surprised me a bit to see that. It was on the PS2, and it looks like they're going to do a remaster. It's also coming to the PlayStation 4, so it'll be on both platforms. And then Shin Megami Tensei 5 did make an appearance finally. Simultaneous release, 2021. That simultaneous worldwide release, I think, was the biggest announcement out of that with Atlus, but it's coming next year. That was a game that was announced during the Switch's reveal, if I remember right.
Yeah.
So
Also, the
January.
gameplay that was in the trailer today is basically redone up footage from the one that was in, I think, January or February 2018. There was a brief trailer that they dropped on the Nintendo YouTube channel of a character in the desert, and it looks like it's the exact same area. It's just now it looks better because it's been in development for so long. So.
Well, thank you for listing everything off. I forgot absolutely everything because there's too much. So I'm happy that somebody reminded
this seemed
me.
like a Direct that was perfect for Scott, right? I mean,
Yeah,
ending with
just
Shin Megami Tensei.
fan, just immediate, boom, throw in there WWE 2K Battlegrounds, and then immediately going into Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne remake. Thank God.
I'm going to prediction right now, actually, a future Nintendo Direct prediction. I predict in 2 years, we're going to see a Scott the Woz video about Nintendo Directs in 2020.
Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne and WWE 2K Battlegrounds, obviously, yes.
Yeah,
This is the perfect thing for me. I'm so happy that I woke up early today because it's good to wake up early and no other reason. You know?
I was watching this this Direct, and I was really seeing a Direct that a lot of people weren't going to be happy with as they were ending it out. I mean, I think there's an audience for Shin Megami Tensei, and I'm sure they were really excited. But there were a lot of games they could have shown here that would have fit in with what they were describing it to be. All of us, at least I thought No More Heroes 3 was going to be here. I was like,
I thought that was a lock.
turn it
Yeah, because
off
the
to, like,
Devolver
the
Digital
big
thing
one.
happened a couple days ago, and Suda was teasing it, so I assumed, oh, this is the time to see it.
Yeah.
Also, where the heck was Bravely Default 2?
yeah.
That's a
another
big
good
game coming out. That's also a third-party game that I assumed would be in here. And in
Doom
fact, that's one of
Eternal.
the only other things I expected. So surprising to not see it.
What was that,
Doom
Nate?
Eternal. Where
Like
was that?
WWE and the 2K Battlegrounds game, they didn't even. It was literally just a trailer. They didn't even do the general direct spiel with that game, where the announcer goes over what to. All they did was show a trailer that probably already existed on a YouTube channel somewhere. It just felt like this felt like a contractual obligation Direct. because like it didn't feel like Nintendo was like, oh yeah, the fans want to see 2K Battlegrounds, the fans want to see Rogue Company again. It felt like they had obligations with some companies and they had to just barf out a direct just to appease them. And it to me it feels like they just don't have, I don't know, they didn't have time to put together like their first party trailer.
I'm going to counter that because we had the report come out earlier this year on VentureBeat where Nintendo told third-party publishers and partners, if you want to announce your games at any time, go for it because we don't have a direct planned. So if they did have contractual obligations, at that point it should have been null and void. And these companies could have just came out. I mean, Rogue Company was in a closed alpha last week.
Yeah, that's why people are already playing Rogue.
So
that's already being played.
Yeah, so what was the point of, it could have been a tweet. And
well, see, that's the interesting thing, right? Because Paper Mario is a big first-party game, and that was dropped in a tweet randomly on a weekday, and it ended up getting released 2 months later. Now, they could have easily done that for a lot of the games that were in this and not called it a direct. Because if it wasn't a contractual obligation thing, this is almost like bad press for them. Because then it's almost like sullying the name of the direct. When you have so many people waiting for so long for some type of information, even if it is labeled as a mini, even if it is labeled as a partner showcase, like we just had Treehouse Live, what was it, like 2 weeks ago with the Bakugan announcement, and they saw how that went down. So it's like, why would you then make the same mistake 2 weeks later and do this?
That's where it seems like there's really some weird marketing messaging going on. Like you just had the Bakugan bomb where you got people excited and then you tempered expectation and they still didn't temper them enough. And then you tweet this last night at midnight saying, hey, we're going to have a 10-minute mini direct. It's going to be from our publishing partners. And so people go, okay, it's 10 minutes. It's not going to be what we wanted, but it could still be decent because, as we've mentioned, we expected something like No More Heroes 3, Bravely Default 2, Doom Eternal,
Bayonetta 3.
Bayonetta 3, all these third-party games that have been announced that lack release dates. And we got a wrestling arcade game from Saber, Rogue Company. And I mean, Atlus games are quality, but it just felt like a mismatch of messaging where they were better off just shadow dropping it, I think, in the end.
Yeah. What was with that midnight?
This direct felt like Nintendo was taking a lot of cues from Sony. This felt like a state of play.
Oh, completely.
It did.
Yeah,
completely.
And I would I know Roger, you said that like, oh, they just tweeted out about Paper Mario, and that obviously is proven to be effective because they don't like if they just tweeted out any of these announcements aside from like the Shin Megami Tensei stuff and Cadence of Hyrule, nobody would have cared. If Nintendo of America just tweeted out the Battlegrounds trailer and the Rogue Company, nobody would have cared. I feel like this was just to give their partners a bit of a boost up, even though there was nothing to like there was nothing to show. Because like the direct, like people are going to watch this. Like a bunch of people are watching this, obviously, and a lot of people saw these games that they wouldn't have seen if they just tweeted it out. Still not a good thing. It obviously backfired on them. But I feel like that's their mentality with like Paper Mario can really withstand just being tweeted out, and that's all because it's Paper Mario. It doesn't need a direct to get a bigger audience. These games kind of needed that, but they also needed more substance around them. If Rogue Company and Battlegrounds were in an actual Nintendo Direct, like it would have been fine. Like whatever, like sure. But when these are like literally the only things, and that's a problem.
Well, that's the thing. Like 80% of this direct felt like they were games that would have been featured as a sizzle reel in a general direct.
Yeah, totally.
They were. I think Rogue Company was in the Japanese one. It was just a part of like a sizzle reel at the end.
It is a strange thing. Like the midnight announcement, it was really weird. I remember, was it last night? It was yesterday. It was during the day. I sent a message. I was like, I think they're going to announce this thing at midnight. And you were like, no, that's weird. Why would they do that?
Yeah.
It seemed weird and it seemed unlikely. I mean, it was possible. It did end up happening. And
you know what it seems last minute. Like even behind the scenes. Like I have a feeling they told their investors that like, oh, the COVID situation hasn't affected things that much, right? They're like, unless it spikes again, then we could have a problem. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Like looking at this looks like last night they had to do the science fair project and they were like, just throw it together. We're going to try to get it done, in the last minute. And the mom's up till like 4 a.m. building it.
I feel like if they weren't being completely truthful with like any of their stuff getting delayed, like because they did say like, oh, our stuff is on track. I feel like they would have known by now if they would have had problems with delays, and they would have pushed a lot of games around. Like they probably wouldn't have put like Clubhouse games and Paper Mario like within a month of each other. They probably would have pushed stuff out and probably would have made like Paper Mario like a holiday title or something like that if it was really that big of an issue. So I feel like there's still stuff coming this year, obviously, but it's just odd that that Paper Mario has been the only thing we've known about for the past month or two, and now we still don't know anything. But that kind of reminds me of back when the Switch was being revealed back in like October of 2016, because that was a similar situation where Paper Mario was the only thing we knew about coming to Wii U, and they didn't announce the Switch until like a week or so later. So Nintendo likes to do this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I do wonder if it's something to do with Paper Mario as a franchise. Because, I mean, if you think about it, like, they did totally do that with the Wii U going into the Switch. But also with this game, I wonder if they maybe wanted the game to control the conversation over the weekend, and that had they announced that we're going to drop this little Nintendo Direct thing, like, on Friday, then people would just be talking about what's going to be in this Nintendo Direct all weekend, and nobody'd be talking about Paper Mario. Whereas, I have seen a lot of Paper Mario talk on my timeline, more so than I've seen in a very long time.
Yeah, they did the same thing with like Animal Crossing back then. As in like in March when like we were in the exact same situation we are now, where we're like, what's coming out after Animal? We have no idea what's coming out for the rest of the year, and it just kind of felt like they wanted Animal Crossing to control the conversation. And I understand that mentality with them, but I think the problem is if you're not an Animal Crossing fan, if you're not a Paper Mario fan, both in those instances, like, you have nothing to talk about, there's nothing to look forward to. And I think that's a major problem. And like, I understand why they want to go like one game at a time, but I feel like there was more to talk about during the Wii U era, like when they were announcing stuff at some points when it's just there was multiple games coming out, not a ton, but
well, we always had Breath of the Wild to talk about going forward.
Yeah, and we have Breath of the Wild too, but also like
right.
Yeah,
there's always a Zelda game to look forward to. I think no matter where we are in Nintendo history.
I mean, but then it's like, okay, so the strange thing with Nintendo that I don't even understand. That's why I'm like, they would have to start announcing or dropping stuff. Like there's a lot of rumors around releases that they would do this year, specifically that Mario 3D collection, and it sounds like they're going to start releasing stuff in September is the rumor. So
Mario?
There's nothing
it's almost the end of July.
Yeah,
so
that's the weird thing. Is like September is the anniversary of Mario.
Yes.
We just saw a bunch of 35th anniversary Mario branded products get announced in the last week between Jenga, Monopoly, the NES, and the Lego stuff. It seemed this is prime time to talk about your 35th anniversary Mario releases coming this year, like the 3D collection that's been rumored, or 3D World that's been rumored. This was the time to do it, and Nintendo kept them on the bench for, whatever logistical reasons that they felt necessary. And that's where it just seems like there's some sort of miscommunication, or there's not a connect happening here. Something is off, and it's hard to tell. Is this intentional? Is this due to COVID? Is it Nintendo just saying, Paper Mario just came out? It's not even part of the 35th anniversary. We haven't branded it as such. We didn't even market it as such. We're just waiting. We can bide our time because Animal Crossing is still selling. We're selling hardware. We're still selling out of hardware in North America. So why do we have to announce new games?
But it's like if Paper Mario just came out and they want that to take control of the conversation, why even do this Direct right now?
Exactly.
Why not wait another week or so? Why this right now? That's just kind of the main thing. Why not at least just wait a week or something like that?
Yeah, there was nothing in this Direct Mini that was really, timely.
What would have been
the only
that was necessary had to happen today. I mean, all the Atlus games are 2021 except for Nocturne 3. It's coming out in October in Japan, but that's you could still announce it in another month or so. Road Company is in early access. That could have been a tweet.
What would have been better is if they planned it out a little more around. I think that Crisis situation with the game that's coming out on the Switch first was like obviously issues, right, Nate, with Saber and all of this, and it was a weird situation. It would have been better if they just did this Direct on Thursday and then they threw Crisis in there as like another thing, because that would have been like, oh wow, yeah, Crisis is out today and Saber did it and it's Switch first. like
Yeah, it would have been a
that
little
would've-
extra marketing
you know,
for
just,
it.
like that's why it seems like so discombobulated right now with everything they're doing behind the scenes. Like even that, I look at that and say, oh, well, that's easy. If they could have lined that up with Saber, they put that Switch trailer out. That they could have just thrown that in this. What was basically just a bunch of trailers back to back anyway. I don't know. That seemed weird to me.
I know you already said how it's weird how they announced it ahead of time. It's just even weirder that they wouldn't announce the last Direct Mini that was in March, and it was nearly 30 minutes long. They didn't announce that ahead of time. They just did that, and they had to announce this ahead of time because there were like rumors, I guess, of like there's a Direct coming, and I felt like they probably were like, oh, we should probably temper expectations because this is just going to be a partner showcase. But it's like there were also rumors heading into the Direct Mini from last March, and I feel like people were a little lukewarm on it. They were like, this is okay. People weren't freaking out about it. But it's like, why? Like, I feel like you didn't temper expectations by announcing it ahead of time. All you did was get people to wake up early and then go, that was it. Like, there's no like, it's just like, I don't understand what they were really thinking with this one. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Okay. What were you saying, Nate?
I don't remember.
Okay, good. So
I was like, I think that's the theme of this morning. Everything's just forgettable except for Shin Megami Tensei.
The only thing
those really were the two highlights of the show, and they were quality.
Mm-hmm.
It's still just baffling that I don't understand the point of this show overall. Again, none of this was timely. None of this had to happen today because they said, oh, you didn't date games for August or September. You dated one game, and it's October, and it's Cadence of Hyrule retail release, and you talked about some of the DLC coming out, and then everything else was 2021, and great, the WWE wrestling game. I think that was already dated when they announced it randomly on Twitter a few months ago. So what was the rush to actually make this happen?
I almost thought they were going to announce some kind of Nintendo collaboration with the 2K Battlegrounds when they showed that, like Mario was going to be in the game or something.
Fighting with John Cena.
On the GameCube.
I kind of thought it was going to happen, to be honest, just because it's 35th anniversary and all that stuff. I'm like, wow, they really got Mario and Luigi into that.
I hope the 3D Mario collection isn't real and that was all they were doing for the 35th anniversary. That'd be pretty cool.
Oh man.
I think it's specifically weird just because we just got off of the Bakugan thing from like a week or two ago. It's just really weird. It just feels like this overall sense of miscommunication with Nintendo. Which
I would even say dating back prior to that, right? We had the Pokemon Directs that were split up among two, and that second one had Pokemon Unite, and the first one started with Smile. And obviously, like, Pokemon Snap was the thing everybody was excited about, but to open it up with like the toothbrushing app and then have the Cafe Mix thing and then have Pokemon Snap and say, we're going to announce something else next week. It's such a huge deal. And then like, I look at that Pokemon Unite announcement and that's something that like, yes, it is a big deal, right? It's this MOBA Pokemon game. This is huge. I understand you want to push it, but if you're going to push it, why would you market it in that way? Like I said, I'm in Vegas right now. I'm quarantining with my girlfriend and her family. And my girlfriend's a huge fan of MOBAs and loves Pokemon. She is the primary audience for that game. She could not make it through the 10 minutes of that Pokemon Direct because it was so boring. That's an issue. I mean, that's a huge issue. It reminds me of the old City Folk commercials on the Wii with like the Wii Speak and then the two people sitting on the couch going, wow, let's pick seashells. It's like, that's not what's interesting about that game. The city's what's interesting. Highlight what's interesting about it. Make it look fun.
So
I think how do we want to rank the game presentations as of recently? Because we've had some pretty bad ones. We like the Ubisoft one recently.
That one was
I watched that one. That was pretty rough. Then there's the Pokemon Directs, as in like I think the best one was the first Pokemon Direct or the Pokemon Presents, whatever it was. Then there was their other Pokemon Presents. Then there was the Nintendo Treehouse. I don't know. I feel like the Ubisoft thing is still probably the worst because they just had nothing.
Yeah, the Ubisoft one. They just kind of skated
this one
past
at least.
That one.
This one was at least like ripping off a Band-Aid. 8 minutes long. I was just like, all right.
They had Shin Megami in there, which is that's the big update people were at least waiting for.
And the same with the Pokemon Presents thing, but they had a week of build up with that. So it's kind of
Right.
like, okay, so there must be something going on here.
Yeah.
And then the treehouse thing, at least with that, like Paper Mario was shown, and I was like, okay. And then they showed off the way forward thing, and immediately when that trailer started, I just went Command Q on my keyboard, and then I was done with that. So I don't know. It's been a rough. I do miss E3. That just standard
Yep.
like.
Yep,
just
I was about to
couple
say
days,
that. I was about to say that.
you
I'm
just get a
starting to miss
couple-
E3.
because people they're doing this like stagnated thing where they're just like, oh, we have one event here and then one event here, and I feel like they want to replicate how Nintendo did directs back like last year and before that. But like they just don't know. Like they're splitting things up across so many different like events, and they just don't know how to do it. And I don't know.
E3
just-
gave them that deadline where they're like, all right, we got to
Right.
have these big hitters
They have
there.
to have everything all in one, and it's just like a thing. And I feel like the problem with
Yeah.
splitting everything up is you're gonna lose faith. Like you said, like with this Direct Mini, it's starting to show. Like I feel like people are gonna not care about directs as much moving forward if this keeps up, where people are gonna be like, oh, I don't care about this. It's just a partner showcase or something like that. When it might actually legitimately have some cool stuff in there. We might actually get in the next one they do because they want to do more of these. They might have like Doom Eternal stuff, which would have been cool to see in this, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Mm.
Or Bayonetta, or No More Heroes.
No More Heroes is
The
still
things that
coming out
people
this year.
expected in this.
I
so-
Apparently.
felt like Scott, the biggest thing that could possibly be in here, and I was like, I'm not even expecting this, but it's just like was like a third-party Smash character. I was like, that's not gonna happen, but I was like,
Yeah.
maybe, but I don't know. Like that was at the most. So I didn't have big expectations going into it, and I'll give Nintendo this. They failed to meet my expectations, and they were already
the only reason I could think of this, like this felt like it happened really fast. Like they were like, we got to announce it Sunday night, midnight. We got to drop it 10 hours later. Okay. It's almost like they are going to have something else. I don't want to say soon, like this week or even next week, but like I feel like they're going to have to announce some of their games soon that are coming out.
Sure.
Literally
It had a game literally every month. I mean, April, May was Xenoblade. March
Yes.
was Animal Crossing. June was Clubhouse Games. July is Paper Mario. I mean, there's probably going to be an August game or definitely a September game if the Mario anniversary is happening then, right? If
Yeah,
nothing's been delayed and nothing,
there's
has been
definitely
affected.
there appears to definitely be a September game. Yes, so like that would be 2 months. I think it would be out, but like I mean they could.
You want to map out the Nintendo year here? If we want to consider
The only thing I'm thinking now,
I think the 4 games I think would make sense would be 3D Mario Collection, Mario 3D World, which I know has been rumored. I still find it a little weird to put those two so close together.
I agree.
The more I think about it, I'm like, like would I rather get Mario 3D World or 3 of the greatest games of all time?
yeah.
But I still like 3D World, but there's those two, Pikmin 3, and then potentially a 2D Metroid that was rumored at the beginning. I think those 4 make sense for the rest of the year, but I'm not expecting. Like,
I kind of think that rumored 2D Metroid might fall into the second half of next year, but
that makes sense.
But there's still
no 2D
also
Metroid for 2020.
But there's still also I mean there's 2D Metroid I think coming, but like I trying to figure out the next 6 months. I think it'd fall to the back half of the next 6 months.
Bravely Default is also a Nintendo published game.
Yes,
so
right.
You're right. Yep. And then
the
also
one big one I'm really surprised we haven't seen yet in terms of first parties that has been talked about so much by the developers is the new Kirby game. Because they've been saying they're developing this Kirby game that's going to be this like really huge deal, and I'm guessing that would come out probably like February or March of next year.
Kirby
it seems
Air
like
Ride
if
2.
Kirby Direct, you think?
Kirby Air Ride 2. Come on.
Oh, I'd cry. Don't even say that to me. Don't. I would cry. Yeah, live on stream.
Man.
The Wave Race developers. Where's Wave Race?
Yeah, Wave Race. I think.
Well, there was also that thing about F-Zero having a Twitter account or something. I'm like, people do not look into that. I do not think.
I'm not looking into
it's
that.
fake.
It's fake.
The guy he tweeted a thing today. It was completely fake. And
okay, good.
And even if it was owned by Nintendo, I would still see like that's more so like I remember back in like 2012, Nintendo registered the domain supermario4.com, and people were like, "Oh my god, are they gonna do a new Mario 4?" And I'm like, "No, it's probably just them like just save like I don't know, just like saving domain names just in case, like,
they
for
register.
their IP and stuff like
These
that.
companies register
Just like, hey,
hundreds of them.
F-Zero
a year.
JP is here, so might as well register it.
Yeah, it's and then there's also the Pokemon DLC that's coming out. I assume in November. It's supposed to be a big DLC for them too, because the first one was smaller technically compared to the second one, so they'll make that a big deal too.
there's also another wave of like the summer Animal Crossing DLC.
Yeah.
So I think there's like
And Pokemon Snap. Again, like that, I feel like that's probably going to be a late 2020 game, don't you think?
I have no idea what's happening because like they do that weird thing where they're just like, oh, it's coming soon, and then they said now in development. And when Nintendo says now in development, that's the scariest thing they could possibly say because that implies that we're not going to see it for 10
They should have put like.
To be fair, though, no. But to be fair, Metroid Prime 4 was now in development, but it had like a logo. That was literally all we had. Whereas this,
we had
we're
gameplay.
seeing
That's true.
gameplay.
Yeah,
at the very
new
least.
Pokemon Snap had more gameplay and a terrible looking logo. That's what both of them have. They just have terrible looking.
Hey,
I don't
maybe-
like the new Pokemon.
Maybe
Snap
Bandai
logo. It
can
looks weird.
maybe they can redeem themselves after what happened with Metroid Prime 4.
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know,
we'll see
but
about that.
what do you think? Like the 3D Mario games for September? You think
I'm
that would
thinking,
make sense?
I think I was trying to go between that or 3D World Deluxe. I think the collection's coming out first to set up their 35th anniversary thing. That's
I
gonna
do
happen.
too, because I think 3D World is going to be a bundle for the holiday. I think that seems like the perfect kind of game where you have that just as a download already on the system. You do like some Mario Edition bundle. You're obviously not going to bundle the 3D collection because everyone's going to want to buy that. Whereas like 3D World, I feel like if you already have a Wii U, why in the world would you buy 3D World again?
Yeah.
And so it's the kind of thing where I could see them bundling it and maybe saving the release for the holiday, sort of spicing out the Mario stuff. And then with the big 3D collection maybe coming in September. And the only other thing about the 3D collection I want to say real quick is the closer we get to not hearing anything about it and the assumed rumored release date for it says to me that these are not going to be like full out remasters.
Oh,
this
no.
is going to be like a virtual console port on a cartridge.
I think they'll do like they'll do widescreen. They'll make it look a little cleaner. Like it Mario Galaxy already.
Turok
Yes.
64. You have to that's probably the treatment Mario 64 will get, and then we're just gonna get up-res Sunshine and Galaxy. And I mean, Galaxy looks great on the NVIDIA Shield, and that's just emulation.
I was gonna say that if you look that up, gameplay for that, it looks like Galaxy still looks good on the Wii, but like you take that, you upscale it, you maybe make it look a little better on like a flat screen, and then it'll look good. It's more or less 64. Like I was hoping they would have spent a little more with that, but
I don't like N64 games in widescreen. They look gross to me. It just looks unnatural.
Okay,
I don't
they need
know.
to give the option.
I would have preferred if they would have just kept just how I'm picturing it, because like whenever I see like YouTube videos where people are just emulating Mario 64 and they're getting footage of it and it's in widescreen, I'm like,
Did you see Scott? Did you see the Super Nintendo games with the widescreen mod?
Well, I think
Go look that up. It shows like so much more of the game. It's really weird looking. Like, it was messing with my mind when I was looking at it.
At least that like Super Nintendo visuals hold up as it like that's a graphical style today that like indie games use and like other like it's an art style. N64 games, that's not an art style. That's like it doesn't look great in widescreen. So I would have at least hoped that they at least do some work for it. It would be super cool if they like remake it in like the Odyssey engine. I'm not gonna be upset if that happens.
You know what they should do if they're doing these three, they should spend a lot of time on Mario Galaxy 2 and do something a bit more with that for its own release at some point.
Yeah,
that would be cool.
I'm a little bummed out that they're doing this. There's like two other games that they haven't. There's two games. There's Mario Galaxy 2 and 3D Land, and it's just they're apparently just not included. And I'm kind of like, man, if you're gonna do like 3 of them, just finish off the pack.
Yeah,
like it's just like just do that, because it's kind of like how the stages are in Smash Ultimate, where there's like 7 stages they didn't include. I'm just like, man, just finish it off. Like, I'm happy with this, but it's just like you're so close to just doing them all there. You might as well just.
Well, Scott, the reason Pyrosphere wasn't in the game is because Ridley was too big in Smash 4, and then now he's a normal size. But I guess it's a different Ridley because it's the other M Ridley, which is actually a clone. So I guess it would have been okay.
Is in Robin's Final Smash, and he's playable in the game. So it's just like, who cares if Ridley's a boss?
See, but you could replace Toon Link in the Spirit Track stage with Alfonso, or Alphonse, or whatever the dude's name is. But what are you going to replace Ridley with? Kraid in the background of Pyrosphere?
Who's the Yellow Devil in the Mega Man stage? There you go. But I mean, okay, little tangent. Again, like they bring back Pac-Land in Smash Ultimate, but they don't bring back the whatever.
Yeah, the Pac-Man stage, which is actually a cool one. Yeah,
is dumb. But when do you guys think the next actual Direct, or at least like actual Nintendo announcement?
Nate, do you want to tell everyone so you can make everyone mad again?
That one's the next Direct.
When do you okay? This is
when
do you
major announcement?
think the next not
When do I think?
Yes, think. Okay, all prediction wise, right?
game for
Hypothetical. Yes.
If
Okay.
they have a game
go.
for September, then they have to announce it in August.
I think there's a chance. Yes. Yep. I think it's either going to be. I think it could be the first week of August.
I mean,
That's just as a prediction. Okay.
yeah, these are predictions.
These are predictions. Okay.
I don't need Nintendo Soup writing an article about this. Yeah, if they have a game in September, like in Japan, you need 30 days advance notice so you can do pre-orders. So it has to be 30 days before it comes out. So
why do they push it so much then? If they're like, oh yeah, we'll wait till 30 days or like around then to
but that's
announce
the thing.
game, you know.
If there was an E3 this year, the word was they were going to deck it out in Mario. It was going to be a whole thing, and right, that was the word.
Based on everything we know so far of Nintendo's 2020, what would we have actually been looking at for their E3? Clubhouse games, Cadence, DLC, and Rogue Company.
I feel like we would have seen a Breath of the Wild trailer.
Yeah, I think they would have done a lot.
And I totally, completely, 100% believe that Min Min would have been announced, at that previous direct that we already had it, dropped at E3, and then the announcement at the end of the direct of E3 would have been whatever the second character is, which is probably like some big deal. Because there were a lot of rumors even swirling around before this direct from relatively credible people saying, oh, this next Smash character is going to be a good one. And so I feel like that would have been the thing to tease at the end of the E3.
To be fair, when do leakers say, yeah, the next Smash character, might not want to care about this one.
That's true.
This one's going to be pretty lame. Don't worry.
Well, I like Byleth, but there were a lot of people who were clearly upset by Byleth.
Oh, but people were like hyping it up. People were like, oh my God, who's going to be next?
So when they do, because I know there was a history for a while that when a mini would happen, like a week or two later, a full direct would happen, but that's thrown out the window big time this year.
Yeah,
so,
2020 has destroyed any set pattern.
Yeah.
Too. Like everyone went to, GameStop has 4 new SKUs. That means a direct is coming. Really?
They're all 4 versions of Battlegrounds.
Bakugan.
There you go.
Bakugan. Hey, see, there you go. Bakugan Deluxe Edition, Bakugan Ultimate Edition. Right there we go. We're filling
and
it
a
up.
Bakugan Nintendo Switch bundle.
The Bakugan thing at least made sense though. Now knowing Reggie's involvement with the company that owns Bakugan,
that was pretty funny.
I get that at least. That's the kind of thing where it's like, okay, this is fine. Obviously, he called in a favor. I'm okay with this.
Beforehand, they could have just been like, "Oh, WayForward is now working with a children's children's anime
or something. Sure.
They could have said something like that instead of, "Oh, WayForward has a new game," and then to temper expectations, they were like, "Oh, it's based on a third-party property." Like, I just feel like there's so much. I don't know what they're doing with that. I don't know why they thought that would have been like an okay thing to say, because they could have just been like, "Oh yeah, it's published by Warner Brothers Interactive." That would have at least I don't know, that would have at least gotten people thinking. It's just like, okay, so it's probably not Castlevania.
It's Batman.
Sure.
Yeah, then we would have had Batman and Suicide Squad and all that stuff.
I think WayForward also did a Batman game. They did a Batman game on the Wii. So
yeah,
that would have been.
There you go. There you go. So I think whenever the next one happens, it'll be more traditional Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I don't think it'll be announced at midnight on Sunday and then it's it's Monday morning.
I don't even know if we can assume that at this point. Like,
really? Okay.
At this point,
my entire expectations for 2020 are thrown out the window. I don't really care
think we're
anymore.
almost really at the point it's going to be more so along the lines of what we have in Paper Mario. Nintendo's just going to go like,
that's exactly what I was going to say too. I feel like the Mario thing is going to be a tweet. Yeah,
it's just gonna hit the 3D collection. It's coming out.
Because that has enough power on its own, you know, like Paper Mario does.
Right.
And nothing in this thing really would have, other than Shin Megami, nothing would have really had enough power on its own. Maybe Cadence to withstand just a random tweet. Like nobody would have cared. At least now people are talking about Rogue Company, not for the right reasons, but
are they?
The more I think about it, though, with the way they laid out today's direct, saying, "Oh, they're going to do more of these partner ones." I'm thinking that's it for the rest of the year. Legitimately, I think that's all we're going to get in terms of direct minis is things like this, or maybe specific game related ones like a Mario direct, maybe around the anniversary. And that's literally it. I don't think we're going to get a big one. And my guess is that in January or February of next year, after everything sort of is blown over, I feel like that's when they're going to be like, okay, look, we understand we kind of faltered last year. Here's all this stuff we're working on. Kirby comes out next month. Here's the Breath of the Wild trailer. Here's the first look at Metroid Prime 4. Here's, where they line out everything. And that's where they really come out of the gate. And they wait until then to sort of announce anything. I hear Nate laughing, so I could be wrong. But
hey, you drop all that and then Mario Kart 9 in there and all of this. Yeah.
There you go.
Good. Right, Nate?
Yeah, sure.
I think
that's something we do every year, though. It's like, all these awesome games got delayed until next year. Next year's going to be awesome. And then the year comes and it's like, this year sucks again. We always get
Clubhouse Games 53 were.
I liked last year. I thought last year was good.
That's gonna be so weird though.
I've been pretty happy with this year. So I got a lot of time out of Animal Crossing, Clubhouse Games, Panel Day Con.
Yeah,
Paper Mario is good so far. I'm liking Paper Mario.
Yeah.
I mean, 2019. I had a little bit like Yoshi's Crafted World. Mario Maker 2. I didn't get as into as I would have wanted to. And then it was like Link's Awakening, Luigi's Mansion 3. That was kind of it for me. So
Luigi's Mansion 3 was good though. I liked Luigi's Mansion a lot. That was a great game.
I liked all those to varying degrees. Obviously, Link's Awakening and Luigi's Mansion 3 were a lot better than well, Mario Maker 2 was still good, but it didn't really capture me that much.
Fire Emblem.
Not
You're asking Scott about Fire Emblem.
Fire Emblem's the best. That's why I was thinking.
Did you see
out of here?
Did you see his? Did you see his?
I have
You didn't
Fire
see his
Emblem
anime
Warriors
episode
for new 3DS if that counts.
Oh my God!
I found that
No,
recently.
that's like another.
I gotta get that.
That's a sin.
That's a must-have. It's a neat little novelty. That's why
We're trying to get Scott to just get Xenoblade and play through that too. But yeah.
I have Xenoblade 1 on Wii and new 3DS and Switch.
To be fair, the new 3DS version.
And I've played 1 hour of Xenoblade.
Please, as a Xenoblade fan, I beg of you, if you're ever going to play through the entirety of that game, do not play it on new 3DS. Please don't.
Man.
I bought it on new 3DS because it was funny.
I will literally buy you a copy of Definitive Edition and send it to you if you don't play the new 3DS version.
Oh man.
I bought it when I was just like, you know what? I want to own a physical copy of Clubhouse Games 51 Worldwide Classics because I like it. And I was like,
that game's great. Yeah.
So I will say I think Nintendo people weren't too happy with the Direct, obviously, but I think Nintendo will have some more stuff to talk about soon. And
They have to.
They have to.
For this year, outside of Cadence of Hyrule.
That's true. There's nothing that they have right now. That it's strange.
We all made jokes like Paper Mario is the last game Nintendo's releasing in 2020. We didn't mean it.
We were just messing around.
Like Nintendo, don't listen to us and actually say these guys have a good point.
They have a good point.
Mario Kart Tour is getting updated tomorrow. I think I saw that. So there you go.
Wow.
Yay.
Put that on.
The new Fire Emblem Heroes outfits are pretty great for all the characters. They look pretty good. New swimsuits.
Man, we are digging to the bottom of the barrel here.
Sad that they spend more time updating Mario Kart Tour than they spent with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. You know, they could have given us a couple of new tracks as DLC. The game's only sold like 25 million copies. You know,
it is the best-selling game on the system.
The more we're talking about it and I'm thinking about it, the more I really think like this might be it for this year. Especially if Nate was laughing about the 2D Metroid thing not happening this year, then I think like we're probably going to get 3D World, Pikmin 3, the Mario Collection, another holiday push for Animal Crossing, another holiday push for Bravely Default, totally. And I think that really legitimately could be it for this year. And you know, in terms of like sales for the holidays, they really kind of don't need anything other than the 3D Mario collection. That could be that would be a big time. Like that would sell really well. Absolutely. And then on top of that too, I'm sure there's going to be, well, we know already there's going to be the Pokemon DLC that comes out later in the year. That seems like it's going to be pretty expansive. And we know there's going to be at least one more Smash character this year too. That's going to happen. So I think if you do a push for Animal Crossing, Smash Brothers, a Mario 3D collection, and Pokemon, that's your holiday right there. You don't really need anything else.
Nintendo's had far worse holidays before.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, yeah,
we have had worse holidays, but like, think about like all the titles you just said. It's so safe and unexciting and predictable for Nintendo to
especially going up against new consoles.
Yeah, like we're gonna lean on Nintendo. That's fine. The 3D collection of those 3 games, and 3D World and Pikmin 3, Bravely Default 2, and all that. That's some quality. It's just kind of like, okay, but where's that surprise game? Where's that really big game that came out of nowhere that knocked all our socks off? It's just,
I think that's where COVID comes into play. I think no matter what they're saying, I feel like it's obviously affecting them in some way. And I feel like that's the other big thing is you look at these consoles, you look at, PS5 coming out and the new Xbox, and they're super expensive consoles. And little Timmy's grandma, when she's going to buy stuff for him for Christmas, is going to go and see, oh, okay, Switch is $250 with the Mario 3D World bundle. I'm going to buy this. And like, they don't need to do anything. I'm not saying I don't want them to. I would love for them to, but I get where they're coming from to not even try this year.
Oh, from a business standpoint, I mean, they're going to make a ton of money this year. And they're going to have a strong holiday. They're going to sell a ton of hardware and they're going to sell a ton of software. But from the fan point of view, it's just kind of like, like as Scott said earlier, if you don't care about Animal Crossing or you don't care about Paper Mario, you're going through your backlog, or maybe you're playing some of the third-party games that came out like BioShock or Borderlands, and you're experiencing those for the first time. Like, that's cool. It's just kind of like you buy Nintendo hardware for Nintendo games, and this year Nintendo hasn't really delivered the games that you have expected of them. Like, think back to 2017. Nintendo had a new 3D Mario, 3D Zelda, Splatoon 2, a new IP with ARMS.
That was
Mario
a crazy
Kart,
year.
2 new
Really
IPs
good
with 1-2 Switch.
And it was like,
Oh, that's right. 1-2 Switch, right?
yeah, 1-2 Switch. Everyone remembers that quality. So did Nintendo, thankfully.
It's a fun one.
That was a good year.
And,
It was a good year. And everyone was kind of like, if this is the future we have from Nintendo on the Switch, because they have now consolidated their development teams, this platform is going to be amazing. And then the foot was taken off the gas. And it was
yeah,
kind of,
that's just the thing. Like, you expect, like, 3DS, like, basically, like, oh man, a similar amount of games that were coming out for 3DS and Wii U each year, just for one platform. The problem is, like, obviously with HD development, it's going to be a little less. But I haven't necessarily felt much of that. Like, I don't necessarily feel like there's been a ton of releases every single year that to really make me feel like, oh man, this is like the 3DS and Wii U combined or stuff like that. Because, a lot of the games, they're releasing quite a few games, but a lot of them they're just kind of publishing it. Like last year, they published a ton of games, but a lot of them weren't developed, like Daemon X Machina, Dragon Quest 11, Dragon Quest Builders, what came out, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, stuff like that. It's just like, I just feel like I'm not really feeling that level of like, oh man, they're really ramping up. It's a bit odd. Then again, like I said, I've kind of thrown in the towel for the rest of the year expecting much. But it's just a little odd that we just don't. It's a little odd to see like Sony and Microsoft very concretely saying like, oh yeah, Halo's coming out this year. Our new consoles are coming out this year. Spider-Man's coming out this year, stuff like that. But then Nintendo's hasn't said anything.
I do wonder, you brought up a good point too with Nintendo having their hand in like a lot of the third party stuff. Taking it back to what got announced today, I'm wondering if that's why simultaneous localization is happening for Shin Megami Tensei, if Nintendo has some sort of hand in that, the same way they do with the Dragon Quest games. Yeah,
it very well could be. Yeah. Also, it is strange because we're still waiting for like, I almost was wondering if Persona 5S was going to come out this year in the West or at all, and it's like that could have even been something to throw in there for Atlus, and I'm like, it's so strange. So
Atlus is very strange because especially with
Atlus
Persona, they're like, hey, fill out our little forms saying that you want Persona on the Switch. It's like everybody wants Persona on the Switch. What are you doing? You put Joker in Smash Bros. Obviously, there's an audience.
Obviously, if you can put out all those games on the Switch, I'll be like, even if I'm not interested, and I'm sure.
Put them on there, of course.
You know what? What's really cool though? Having Shin Megami Tensei 3, a Nocturne, get that remaster. That makes me wonder if Atlus is going to start going really back into some of their back catalog and start remastering more. Like, could they do like Digital Devil Saga or do some other crazy stuff? Because like that's a game coming to the PS4 also, and that's fine if they're going to start getting these games and putting them on a bunch of different platforms and remaster them. That'd be really cool because there are a lot of people who haven't played things like the Digital Devil Saga series. So
I'm honestly shocked we haven't seen Persona Arena or any of the dancing all night games on Switch. I feel like that's something they totally would have brought over.
What were you saying, Nate?
Persona Arena,
I think the Arena game can be forgotten.
Exclusivity thing because that appeared on Xbox, so it's like, I don't know. It's really weird. I don't know. Atlus. I mean, like they did Catherine Full Body, and then that was it. So I don't really know what they're doing with Switch. I mean, they're obviously kind of gearing up. They're obviously kind of ramping it up, but it's very odd support overall.
It is odd support, but I think they played a little coy game with people this month because Shin Megami Tensei 1 came to the Nintendo Switch Online Super NES lineup in Japan.
Oh, in Japan, yeah.
Look what happened today. Was that planned?
Maybe it was.
Maybe.
We're going to need Mortal 2.
I hope with how much the Switch is sold in Japan, Atlus takes a long, hard look and just starts, even if they go back and get their older stuff and bring it up, there's a lot of things they could do, I think, there. But any final thoughts on the Direct Mini, or I guess the holiday for Nintendo as we move into August here soon, with Nintendo not having anything other than Cadence Hyrule Physical Edition dated?
They need to communicate their 2020 plans. They have to communicate to the consumers that they do have more stuff coming out this year. And I understand they like to keep things close to their chest, and they've been doing like this weird 6-week window between announcement and release. But I mean, you have to communicate this, and you can't wait to the last minute to get your holidays detailed, because we have Microsoft having an event in a few days. We have Sony expected to have a state of play in August. They're going to start dating and pricing their next gen hardware for this holiday. And Nintendo, you have to kind of counter this with your own momentum. Otherwise, I mean, Microsoft and Sony are going to have stock limitations, but you don't want them controlling the narrative for the rest of the year. You have to date software and show people the Switch is still a quality piece of hardware. You have a great back catalog of evergreen games, but show us who already own a Switch that there's something coming out this year for us, and make us excited again.
Nate, I need Halo Infinite to be really, really good looking. Okay, after some of this disappointment today.
Have faith in 343.
Okay, good.
When is that Microsoft event this week?
Thursday.
23rd.
Thursday. And then there's like a Bandai event, I think, tomorrow, isn't there?
Is there?
Tomorrow or Wednesday.
I'll
One of the
have
two.
to
There
check.
might, I don't know.
I'll have to check. All right. I just been looking forward to the Xbox event now after this. So,
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Very good. Thanks everyone for joining me today. So we talked about the large Direct Mini that took place. I guess we'll see what happens. Hopefully Nintendo has some more stuff in the next few weeks to announce. But thanks everyone for joining us here today, and we'll see you guys next time.